Hello and welcome to Three Gentiles, where three Gentiles discuss the Word of God.
you really threw me for a loop with that one. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
That was what I thought of like 5 minutes ago. How come we don't use the term Gentile anymore? No one walks around saying like, oh, I'm a Gentile, but people will say, yeah, I'm Jewish.
I think Gentile is a term Jewish people use for us. It'd be weird for me to call myself a gringo when I am not, like, I have no connection to any Spanish or Hispanic or Latinx culture.
We're taking back Gentile.
I prefer to go by Howley.
You spend 2 months in Hawaii, Sarah, and suddenly you know everything.
I lived there for a year.
Okay, I didn't know how long you'd actually been there. I just was trying to make a joke.
You just made it up. Fair enough.
I was
a year, 2 months. It's all the same to us Gentiles.
Yeah, Gentiles notoriously bad at time.
We think it's only been 2,000 years, when the Jewish calendar clearly says it's 6,000 and some.
I didn't know there was a Jewish calendar.
There is.
Good
sure
Lord. I was best man in my Jewish friend's wedding. And this is what I've learned of his culture. Absolutely nothing.
Ooh, which leg of the chair did you get to hold up? Is that weddings?
They didn't do that at the wedding.
Celebrations.
Wow.
I
Were
mean,
you
it's more-
really at a Jewish wedding then, Hunter?
it's more
Did
of a
anyone even
bar
say
mitzvah.
L'chaim and then circumcise a newborn?
I circumcised someone. Didn't know it had to be a newborn.
Did they break the plate?
Oh, like the glass stomping thing?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. We were at sea and they have a thing about broken glass. But, hello and welcome to Gritty Reboot, where we discuss TV's dark side and make fun of TV shows. And currently we're watching Wynonna Earp, which is about a lady going around shooting Old West zombies.
Some of them in this episode, not particularly zombie-like.
Yeah. Well, one is very zombie-like, but he's also a kind, sensitive soul.
Yes.
He gnaws off his foot for love.
And the other one doesn't seem like a zombie at all.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
They culturally blend, I have to say.
And we've got our third, I think he's a revenant, I'm not totally sure, who is an upstanding member of the community and a judge?
Yeah.
That was unclear to me. This episode goes in a lot of directions all at once, and it felt like it could have been 2 or 3 episodes, but they kind of mashed everything together.
Well, before we get into it, who are you people?
Oh, yeah. I'm Hunter Markham, and with me are Sarah Dunaway and Reverend Kevin Michael James.
Yes. Blessings be upon our podcast audience.
The thing is, I'm not lying when I say that.
Yes, for $5, you too can get an internet certification allowing you to perform marriage ceremonies, as I have done twice, I think?
I thought it was 3 times.
3 times. I'm big stuff over here.
Reverend lifestyle just moves so fast, you know. It's hard to keep
And once
up.
again, reinforcing that well-known Gentile trait of not being able to count.
This is what we're known for. So, you guys attempted to rewatch this episode and had some struggles. You mean that opening scene with this one shot where Wynonna is dressed like a Viking-era handmaiden didn't draw you deeply into the story?
That dream sequence was rough.
Not good. Yeah. And then this whole thing feels really pieced together this episode, where it felt like it was parts of a bunch of different ideas.
There were, I think she ends up killing like 3 different revenants out of all the revenants that we know there's 77. So she just knocks out a bunch of them here. One of them is introduced in a scene that he dies. So there's never a sense of having footing in this story. Maybe the whole thing is an extended dream.
Yeah, there's a real... the whole thing is so weird. Like, they... At some point in the episode, they have a whole police raid on Bobo Del Rey, our intrepid villain's hideout. And there's just no sense of menace when your main characters can just easily get a search warrant and overpower their enemies.
Yes. It devolves into petty politics and things like getting search warrants, which I guess can work in a procedural show like Law and Order or something, but here it just seems odd when it's supposed to be juxtaposed with all this action. I did want to take a step back and talk about dream sequences in film and TV in general. Because I don't know about you guys, but my dreams, unlike Wynonna's, are not really coherent things where I'm walking through a beautifully furnished rustic farmhouse. I had a dream the other day that my dead dog was back to life, and then 2 bald eagles were trying to kill it, and then one of the bald eagles landed on a picnic table and puked up a plate of sliced ham. So there's not a doctor in the world that can understand that dream.
No.
TV and film always have like highly symbolic, like revelatory dreams that are gonna like play into future events. But like the 3 types of dreams I have are really narratively heavy dreams that like I don't even know why it's happening, but it's like my brain is like, hey, you want to hear a story I've been working on? Or the other 2 are random shit. And then my personal favorite, just dreaming about boring stuff that you'll probably have to do anyway. Like the time I dreamt about being 10 minutes late for work and having to apologize to my manager.
Yes, I've had emails about I've had dreams about emailing my assistant, and then I get to work and I'm like, of course now I have to email her. Like, this is my whole life.
Portentous.
I've never had a dream about work. I have 3 recurring dreams. I think this is a real common one. I have the dream where I'm back in college and it's finals day and there's a class that I haven't been going to all semester since day 1, so I'm not prepared for the final. That's pretty standard. The other 2 recurring dreams I have are where I'm skateboarding or where I'm playing basketball. Other than that...
Oh yeah, all the time. Me too.
Than that, it's bald eagles trying to kill my dog, and then I'm screaming the freedom line from Braveheart while punching a bald eagle in the face. So, my dreams are a complete mess.
I had a dream the other night I was telling Kevin about that I made him switch places with me in bed because I was next to a window, and apparently there had been like a bunch of women who were pulled out of the window and killed in our town, and he was like, of course I'll switch places for you. And in the dream I was like, oh my god, thank you so much, you're amazing. And then I woke up and was like, what an asshole would he be if he said no? Like, why was I so grateful? Jesus. What a low bar.
I don't actively want you to get murdered in your dreams. I'm the love of your life.
Exactly.
I feel like those dreams make so much more sense. Maybe I just have stupid dreams, and Wynonna and other characters from TV and movies are more like normal people who don't have deep problems that Freud himself couldn't unravel.
I will say that Wynonna's dream is extremely poorly directed.
Yes.
Like, oh my god, Waverly is so bad in this scene. Like, she was clearly instructed to do like some weird thing that's not working. She's like trying to point in half speed, but it's like very clear that like someone's like, this'll look cool and maybe aqueous and like you're going through water, but they don't have any budget to make it actually that, so it's just like very clearly someone pointing slower than they would normally.
Yeah, I don't know why that's supposed to be a horror or dream trope, but the other thing was when Wynonna wakes up, the bed she's in is like if you chopped a twin bed in half. She has to be in fetal position to sleep in that thing. It's a crib.
Yes.
Oh, get a bigger bed. That really pulled me out of the scene.
Oh man, this whole beginning is so boring though. Can we just skip to shirtless dolls?
Yes, okay. Whew. Dips are a thing on the shows we talk about. Mad Dog was doing seated dips back in prison, and now Dolls is doing chest dips in the police station while the air conditioning's on the fritz, because you want to get sweatier in that case.
Yes.
Absolutely. While you're at work, definitely.
He says the furnace won't quit, and as I think we all know, when it's super hot, you just want to work out, which is a thing that doesn't make you hot at all. It cools you down.
Yeah, whenever it gets really hot out, I'm like, let me get my jump rope.
Maybe the furnace is a nickname he's trying to start for himself. Like, yeah, furnace won't quit. No matter how
Honestly,
hot
I think he could pull that off.
I mean, he's a big dude. But
He looks good.
And Wynonna just lusts after him the whole time, like, hey there, Officer Hottie. Oh, we gotta get to chest. I mean to work.
yeah, she has like 3 Freudian slips in the very first scene where he's walking around shirtless and doing about 13 seconds of jump rope.
It was nice to see some female objectification here, because our show normally does it the other way around.
Yes, there's also a lot of the other way around in this show when they're hanging out with your favorite menacing villain, Bobo Del Rey.
Yes. Oh, I had a thing to say about dolls being shirtless, though. Hunter, a couple weeks ago, I told you about this amazing YouTube series. What was it? A half-hearted defense of the 50 Shades of Grey films. And there's a part that sticks out to me in the second of those where the person who's doing the essay talks about how you can tell that the men who took over in the second movie were men because they're clearly afraid of filming even a shirtless guy, and they're always like 20 feet away to film, whereas whenever they're filming Dakota Johnson, they're like right up next to her body. I could definitely see the same thing happening in this show where, like, with Officer Doll shirtless, they're like, let's keep a respectful distance. We don't want to seem like we're too close. And then when they're like panning up to Waverly's ass, they're like so close you can see her hot pants ruffle from the cameraman's breath.
They do that so much. Waverly's always in a crop top. They pan over from dolls basically to be like, okay, and now we rack zoom in on Wynonna, pun not intended. I'm trying to use a filmmaking term, but they probably, the people working on this show probably think a rack zoom is just when you focus in on a girl's chest.
Is it not? Sarah, help me out here. You did film things.
Not on that side of the camera.
The way you said that made it seem like there's a really dark and interesting past.
Wow, let me tell you about the amazing films that my classmates in college made and had me star in. Film noir style things shot on a college budget. Amazing.
Were you the leggy blonde who that the private eye knew was trouble but just couldn't say no to?
I'm always cast as the leggy blonde, definitely.
Please tell me it was shot in black and white.
One of them was.
Oh my god, yes, student film has never changed. Yeah. Never changed, student film. Always trying to do black and white. Always not know how to light black and white because no one's done it for 50 years.
Yeah. Not good films.
I think that most of the things anyone does in college are pretty awful.
I think we'll get to hear more about the things people do in college later.
Yes. Oh, speaking of where you're going with that, what's this plot point where they have spied on Bobo's trailer park and see someone bringing in some crate that looks like it's meant to hold the Ark of the Covenant, and they need to have a search warrant, and they have to go to the judge? This seems like a really weird sidetrack.
So weird. The judge is a really weird character. He has a terrible tie.
He has so much taxidermy.
It's a lot. Like, he has bad taste in bourbon, apparently. I don't get him as a character, and I don't really understand why we spent so much time with him.
This was like a really weird sideways way to introduce him, because we learned by the end that he is a revenant, and we will get into that in a second. Or I guess we think he's a revenant because he has a framed photo of the 7, the people who killed Wynonna's dad and sister. And so I guess he's one of them, because there are 2 left over, right?
Yes?
Unless he just randomly keeps incriminating photos around of other people.
Yes. And I really wanted to focus. His name is Judge Kreiderman. And it just got me thinking that Stan Lee really took the wrong path of naming his characters, because I would have loved if instead of Peter Parker, his name was just like Jeff Kreiderman. And then whenever people confuse him for Spider-Man, it would have been way funnier.
Spider-Man? No, Kreiderman.
Kreiderman. It's Kreiderman? No, I don't know anything about Spider-Man.
But yeah, it seems like the warrant is just an excuse to introduce the judge. It doesn't really make sense or go anywhere in the actual episode.
Shouldn't we have had something a bit more dramatic, where maybe they're planning some assault and the judge gets wind of it and starts cracking down on them and seems adversarial?
Well, I'm also just baffled about all of this. Like, I don't understand in what situation a local town judge has jurisdiction over an international federal agency. I am very confused by this.
The way things work in Alberta.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I thought warrants were for police, and if a crime, at least in America, crosses state borders, it's handled by the FBI. And I mean, I don't know where they get their warrants from, but it seems like it wouldn't be the local circuit judge.
Yes. Well, I'm not even sure he's a circuit judge, because one, I don't know how Canada organizes its judicial system, but two, he seems like he's just in the town. He doesn't seem like... I feel like he's the equivalent of, like, a district judge, maybe.
Whatever Canada has, they all just have a bunch of maple leaf counties that interlock together, so their map just looks like a big puzzle.
Yes. But anyway, what I really want to get to is this opens up the fact that apparently a revenant at some point went to law school, and that just sounded fascinating to me. And so I wanted to do some digging to find out if there was just any info about like what his time in college was like. Because, I mean, this is really interesting. Like a guy from the 1800s going to like a modern day college. So I actually found some cut footage that would have explored how Kreiderman got his degree.
This sounds incredible. We're finally getting a hold on some deleted footage. I know before we've just gotten scripts and stuff.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I finally found some. So let's take a listen.
Good morning. Welcome to our office. How can I help you, Mr.
Kreiderman's the name, and I'm here to register for law school.
Excellent. As you know, University of Canada, the big city campus, is one of the premier law schools in the nation.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of UCT BC for years, though it did always strike me that the big city is a weird name. It just seems like a placeholder for something else, you know?
I'm not sure I do. Oh, with your first registration, you get a free plushie of our sports mascot, the adjectiving animals. Do you know the team's chant?
Do I? Rah, rah! Second line to be determined. Rah, rah, roo! Fourth line also to be determined. Go, animals! Go, animals! Go, adjectiving animals!
That's amazing. You've got a lot of spirit. I know you'll probably be busy with your first year of law and all, but you should really consider trying out for our cheer squad. In fact, that's our cheer captain coming in now. Captain Del Rey!
Del Rey? Bobo?
Kreiderman? What in tarnation are you doing here?
Law school!
Me too.
There's no need to be shy, Mr. Del Rey. I was just telling Mr. Kreiderman all about your cheer team. Did you know we've won regionals 3 years in a row thanks to Mr. Del Rey?
I would love to hear about this, preferably at length.
Can't talk right now. I just learned that our last captain has been swiping routines from the cheerleaders at UCT OBC. You know them, right?
Of course. University of Canada, the other big city, is the only other major competitor in this province.
Yeah, well, anyway, I have to go fix that, so we'll talk about this never. Bye!
You can't get out of this by stealing plot lines from Bring It On. I've seen that movie 17 times. I know every line, and actually, cheerleader sign-ups sound lovely now that I think about it. Thank you for the recommendation, miss.
No problem, Mr. Kreiderman. Now about your tuition payment.
Oh, of course. Tell me, do you take payments in gold bullion and rustled cattle hides? It's all I've got at the moment.
Of course we do. A full 20% of our student population pays exactly the same way.
So there's an entire culture of upwardly mobile revenants.
Yeah, I guess that's what that last line was implying.
This is a direct result of me having Kevin watch Bring It On with me on 4th of July.
I don't understand. Are you saying that me watching this movie a week ago somehow influenced this script from years ago?
When you put it that way, I guess it is a pretty tangential connection.
You know, good thing we have a time turner.
Look, I'm just saying that hypothetically, if the screenwriter had just seen this movie, Bring It On, for the first time, right before he wrote this, because that was pretty funny, all I can say is I relate to that.
Bring It On's a classic movie.
It is a classic movie.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, because if you hadn't, the call would have mysteriously dropped. Your number would have been mysteriously deleted from my phone. Years of friendship erased.
And I guess I've got to make the same threat to you if you don't like But I'm a Cheerleader when you finally see it.
I've never heard of this movie. This feels like a Lifetime documentary where cheerleaders somehow like haze each other and one of them ends up dead.
No, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it was like I don't want to say like the first, but it was like one of the first movies to like really delve into same-sex relationships. And so like there's a popular cheerleader and her parents send her to one of those Pray the Gay Away camps because they think she's too interested in women, because she is. And it's basically about her learning to become okay with her sexuality.
Oh, okay. But I'm a Cheerleader now makes sense in that context, because on its own it sounded a bit like a Goosebumps title.
Yes. It's really about, like, you can't ostracize me. I am the top of the food chain.
Got it. Okay. Cheerleading aside, we could have used some cheerleading or something going on in this episode. I mean, this is an episode that featured the line, and I'm quoting, Judge Anus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. The dialogue here was a little limp. It was limper than usual.
There was also a Sharknado reference.
Yeah, the stuff in the trailer where Bobo was making, you know, I guess, sexual harassment type of statements to Wynonna was, you know, some of it was mildly amusing to watch them sort of banter. That's the best I have.
Yeah, some of that was also weird, though. He's like, you better polish my knob. And he sticks out his boot. It's like, oh, I thought you were going somewhere else with that. And then he goes, and while I'm at it, there are also some other things that can use women's touch. Like, oh, that you could have just led with that. That's where I thought you were to begin with. I didn't know shoes were called knobs.
He's terrible.
Well, no, he slides over the rack so
Yeah.
she can polish the knob of the cabinet.
Got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because if a rag's involved in a sex act, then that's just weird. Like, not to kink
I'm just
shame.
saying, polish my knob sounded like something else that I'm pretty sure he would also say to Wynonna.
Yes. It was definitely meant to be a double entendre.
Was he always this sexual harasser, or is this a new thing? Because I don't
No.
remember him being that much of a creep in the previous 4 episodes.
This is a
agree.
newish thing. He was kind of creepy with the prostitutes that he had 2 of a couple episodes ago.
I mean, he didn't go around and just be like, you're a piece of meat. Like he says to Wynonna. So they arrest Bobo when Wynonna starts some sort of kerfuffle at the trailer park because
This leads to my favorite part of the episode. Waverly, for some reason, is just like watching everything from binoculars from like 20 feet away. And to entertain herself, she decides to go all Mystery Science Theater 3000 and add her own narration to what's happening. So she's like, uh-oh, Wynonna's going all Wynonna. Her exact phrasing for some reason.
I mean, what did that line accomplish? She might as well have just turned to the camera and said, the character you know is performing actions and showcasing traits that should have been apparent to you by now. Let's get back to the episode.
Just giving a Jim Halpert stare into the camera.
See, I kind of would have liked that. She had trail mix with her, though, and the instant I saw Waverly on stakeout with trail mix, I said, she really is Sarah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know where you stand on trail mix, but I just was like, I could see Sarah doing this.
Oh, I always bring snacks.
So Wynonna like starts firing her gun in the air and jumping on top of wrecked cars, and then fist fights some revenants, which leads to them arresting Bobo, even though he was just standing patiently by during this altercation. He doubles down on the creepiness where he's like in an interrogation room saying, "Give me a lap dance. I like your honkers," or whatever he says.
That's his exact dialogue. You nailed it, Hunter. Are you a writer for this show?
I know that's not the exact stuff, but he definitely just every single line in this episode where it's Bobo to Wynonna, he's saying creepy shit, which didn't seem to be his MO before. So I think someone was just like, oh, he's not menacing enough. They heard us, they took notes, they went back in time, they rewrote the scripts, and they made him way too creepy.
I agree. I also really like that they tried to keep showing us his, like, 1978 porn mag to be like, look at this creepo. I'm like, okay. It just seems vintage and, I don't know, kind of classy, honestly, at this point.
So he collects vintage magazines? That's wrong in this day and age?
Right.
Right, we all know that, like, if you want to make him really creepy, just, like, leave Pornhub up on his laptop. That's what he needs to do.
Naked lady body is like 7 different variations and spellings in his search history.
You know, given the era he's from, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's, like, delicate showing of ankle search.
Oh, my stars and garters. But, okay, Bobo also had superpowers of gun stealing?
Yes, oh my god,
What
I was
was
so
that?
confused by this.
He, like, swoops it over to him using the force or, I don't know, something.
Yeah, because Wynonna's about to shoot him with Peacemaker and send him to hell. The gun starts glowing. We know all she's got to do is pull the trigger. And yeah, he just, Yoda forces the gun into his hand and it has it turned to her. And then he makes more creepy sexual comments about both her and Waverly.
And he can hold it the whole time. He doesn't start vibrating faster than you have your toys, I have mine.
And afterward, his hand is kind of burnt, but not even that badly, you know? Like, just like minor kitchen accident level.
Are there different grades of Revenant? Is there sort of a C class, like the Kathy Griffin celebrity status of Revenant, and then Bobo's more of an A tier and has more powers?
It must be. I mean, that's true. I'm just thinking of, like, you know, Buffy and stuff. Like, yeah, there are different tiers, but it mostly has to do with age. I don't know that there's a system here.
And they usually still have, like, the same, you know, like, when the Master, who is, like, really old and powerful, if he holds a cross, he still gets burned. He can just do it for longer, and him showing that he can, like, power through the pain is part of the intimidation factor. With Boba just holding a gun and nothing really happening, like, it's just kind of weird and confusing.
That's why Dolls is supposed to be the expert on the occult and has been through this song and dance multiple times. It'd be, I think, kind of cool if we get to see him talking about, like, oh, like, he exhibits, like, this power of telekinesis and is more resistant to Peacemaker, so that puts him in, like, this class of supernatural being. And we see Doll's expertise instead of, throughout this episode, he's either working out or hobnobbing with Judge Kreiderman. Swapping college stories.
Yeah.
So in the interrogation room, though, enters a woman who I guess we're supposed to think is a lawyer initially. She's an interesting character.
Character is a word for it.
The way you said interesting, it makes me think that you've got a few other choice words about her.
Okay, so later, she and Bobo have a very weird confrontation in a barn, and, you know, basically she's like, how dare you use me to just bail you out of jail like this, and then kisses him, and then, like, makes him writhe on the floor in pain.
Yeah, she impales him with the heel of her, like, stiletto shoe, and then makes him suck the blood off the stiletto while she orgasms as he's licking her shoe, which is definitely how female anatomy works. I just want to be crystal clear. That is 100% how the sex talk should go. To all you educators out there listening to our podcast.
There are 10 times as many nerve endings in a stiletto heel than in any other part of the female body.
That's actually why I don't wear stiletto heels anymore. It's just got like so embarrassing if they brush up against somebody or something. Like, oh wow, not in public.
Okay. You guys all remember Riverdale. You're cursed with the memory of Riverdale. I think it was probably season 1, episode 5, where Betty was stepping on someone with high heels. And my question is, what the fuck? Who is into this? And why are they all writing for television?
I don't know.
Who sits around like you're knocking back a beer with your boys and you're like, you know what I like? Getting stepped on by high heels.
Maybe it's a thing. It's not a thing I know about. I mean, I was already skeptical that she was wearing heels that high to like go hang out in a barn with Bobo. Why are you wearing heels in a barn at all? Don't do that. That's a crazy idea.
Can we talk about her name? Because in the grand tradition of making unthreatening sounding villains, she's introduced as Miss Stone, which is clearly like a reference to the Stone Witch, so that's probably who she is, I guess. But she insists on instead being called Miss Clutie.
Mrs. Clutie.
Mrs. Clutie.
Isn't her first name Constance too? Connie Clutie.
It's oh, wow, that arrangement of consonants and vowels is like, it's one of the more embarrassing sounding things I've ever had to say aloud.
Connie Clutie sounds like your mom's best friend who somehow remembered your birthday and texted you on it, even though she's not part of the family.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to quote Buffy every episode, but also to definitely quote Buffy every episode. There's a minor supporting character in like the first 6 episodes who is like this bumbling, ineffective principal. And so they gave him a name that would sound kind of bumbling and ineffectual as well. And they went with Mr. Flutie, which is very close to Mrs. Clutie.
Yes. Wow.
And that's such good synergy for the bumbling principal character, but so baffling for a secondary antagonist.
Who's a powerful witch who can just like curl her fingers and make Bobo and later Doc Holliday collapse through, I guess, some ability to stop people's hearts on command. Maybe it's her over-application of yellow eyeshadow that gives her such strength.
Definitely.
Which, yellow eyeshadow, it's a bold choice. I think it can be done right. I'm not knocking yellow eyeshadow. It was a bit distracting in this case.
An odd choice for her complexion.
Yes.
I would say.
So, hey, someone in hair and makeup decided to really cut loose. Oh, we find out that Bobo's name is Robert in this whole ordeal, which you could go by Rob, Bob, Robbie, all of those better than Bobo.
Yeah.
Bobo's A, not an established nickname for Robert, B, the worst possible nickname for Robert.
And as we keep coming back to, just so unthreatening.
And Del Rey seems a little bit ethnic for a guy who is super white and has blue eyes.
He's so white, his facial hair is turning white.
Just in contact with his skin, even though he's perpetually in his early 30s. Oh my god, yeah. So, I guess this is the Stone Witch. This is the lady who drives around in a pink sedan who we've been worried about for an episode and a half.
Yeah, this show does not do a good enough job trying to create arcs over multiple episodes. Like, it would be interesting to have scenes with Dolls, Wynonna, and Waverly, like, sitting down and being like, okay, so this is where we're going next, getting clues as to the location of someone that we're gonna meet a couple episodes later. We don't really get any of that. We just get, like, random mentions and then nothing.
Yeah, there's no cat and mouse game with this Stone Witch, which could... Oh God, how many times am I going to say witch in a sentence? But it could have been done really well, because they tried to do it with this previous episode where the Revenants were switching bodies, where they set her up as some sort of shadow actor. She could have been doing more things, and there could have been a lot more menace, but instead, we have these weird throwaway events, and then a revenant who's about as intimidating as a cast member of The Big
Oh, hold
Bang
on,
Theory?
Hunter. Can I interrupt with one of my trademark amazing cinematic illusions?
Please do.
So, the shadow thing you guys are talking about, how she should have been more like a cat and mouse situation, never seeing her until, like, the full threat, reminds me of the movie masterpiece Inspector Gadget, where so you know how the main villain of the cartoon was this always unseen villain named like the Claw or something?
Like Dr. Claw or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. In the movie they just show his face like the first 10 minutes.
Bold choice.
Yes.
God, I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid. Isn't what's his face? Ferris Bueller?
Yes, Matthew Broderick.
Let's talk about Wynonna getting held at knife point by a romantic gay revenant.
Yes, that was really sweet. That he's just a zombie for love, I guess.
Yeah, he's like a really nice guy. And this was where I started to be like, I'm confused now with these revenants, because are they evil devils or not? I feel like the show has not decided.
Feels like they also could have really like delved it more into like, wow, is it the right thing to be sending like these people to hell permanently when they
Yes.
seem like just fine normal people?
Yeah, what was
It's
this guy
confusing.
doing?
Nothing. He was a nice guy. He just like wanted to meet up with his lover, have a little rendezvous. He wasn't going to hurt anybody, clearly.
Yeah, so I thought, okay, I get you're geographically constrained within this thousands of acres triangle, but you're living forever and you're not aging, and it seems like that'd be cooler than being in hellfire. So I don't get why at the end of this episode, spoiler alert, this guy's just like, I'm very okay with you shooting me in the skull and sending me to hell, Wynonna, because you're a good person and you're going to break the curse. I'm sure if that takes you 5 years, that time will just fly by when I'm being tormented in a lake of brimstone.
Yeah, it gets so confusing because his lover, we learn, is the guy that Doc Holliday chained up outside of the boundary like 3 episodes ago or whatever.
Home Depot
And so, like,
guy.
yeah, and so he's been horribly suffering ever since then. Like, he only escapes at the beginning of this episode. He's been chained out there for days. His face is putrefying. But, like, he says, please kill me because the pain is too much. But I feel like hell is well known for being a place where the pain is always too much.
What is hell in this show? Like, what are they?
This show is really supporting the Judeo-Christian, or I guess mostly Christian mythology of a hell. Very Gentile thing to do.
Oy vey, am I right?
But, I mean, when she shoots someone, this fiery starfish thing opens up in the ground and sucks people down, which strongly implies that hell is super fiery and very Dante's Inferno-esque.
Yeah.
So, and people have come back are like, oh yeah, that's creepy guy Marty. He's been in hell 3 times and now he's totally insane because he's been tortured for decades and decades by demons. So
Yeah, that's the
I'm
other
sure it'll
weird
be
thing,
fine.
Is that the hell is temporary? Like, this guy's coming back. They're all coming back, right?
but you don't come back from decades of torture the same person.
No, but I'm just saying, like, why Fish, the guy
Yeah.
who's the nice revenant, he knows he's not even going to be there that long. Why doesn't he just, like, try to find a nice guy in town and shack up? Like, why is it?
Yeah, he could
I
just
don't
be
get it.
like, Wynonna, there's 77 of them. When you get 76 and you're about to break the curse, and I'm only going to be in hell for like 2 or 3 seconds, then just come find me and do whatever you got to do. But until then,
Exactly.
I'll be chilling out.
It's all so weird.
He's just weirdly okay with being sent to hell, which maybe that's another kink I'm not aware of. All I know is they miss an opportunity for a pun whenever they were talking about how super nice guy named Fish met Home Depot dude. He's like, he was a photographer. He took daguerreotypes, which are old-timey photographs, and I decided he was just my daguerreotype. Which
that could have really improved the episode.
they just needed one daguerreotype pun.
I'm also, now that I'm thinking about it, it's really confusing that there was no reckoning for Doc Holliday's actions. You think the fact that, like, he was the one who tortured this other Revenant's boyfriend would have played into the emotional catharsis of the episode somehow. Instead, the boyfriend just never finds out.
I think he does at the end. Whenever Wynonna's about to send them both to hell, Doc's like, hey, he kind of starts like, it was me who did it. Like, I staked him out behind the side of the line or wherever, where his skin started melting off. And the super nice guy is just like, oh, vengeance is a bad thing, Doc. All right, Wynonna, go ahead and kill me.
So weird.
He just
so emotionally unsatisfied.
He stretches out his neck and lays across a guillotine. Gives advice to her, like, okay, like, just remember to aim for the forehead, because if you aim lower, it might just pass through my jaw, and then I'm in pain. So you can do this. Kill me. What was my other? Oh, we have this one scene with a guy I'm describing as backwoods Iggy Pop, who's really good at impressions.
Yes.
This could have been a thing that tied in with the episode, because I have some theories. Opening dream is Wynonna dreaming of Willa, who is quote-unquote dead. Theory, she's not fucking dead.
Yeah. I would hope not.
Like, that's gonna come back.
There's too much build-up for it now. She's either a revenant or not dead or something.
Maybe she's gonna come back somehow. I can feel it in my bones. It's not my first rodeo. I've watched TV before. I've seen Super Gator. I've seen Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. I've known narratives. But this guy, who she finds in this weird shack named Vinny the Vulture, who I guess is the cousin of Minnie the Moocher from that Cab Calloway song in Blues Brothers.
Oh, I love that movie. And that song. And that performer.
But this guy can just speak in the voice of deceased people and chooses to speak in the voice of Wynonna's dad. This could have been a longer running thing where this guy is tormenting her and drudging up painful past memories, but instead there's like 3 minutes of screen time before she tortures him and then subsequently kills him.
It's so weird too, because like you're saying, like with that voice, it would be so much easier for that character to play into Wynonna's very well-established guilt.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, he tries to go a different route and say, like, you become corrupted by your power. You're too power hungry now. And it's like, it seems a bit early for this.
Yeah. Also, it hasn't been established as a concern of hers.
Yeah, she's been this hero for 5 episodes, and she's been reluctant at it for 4 of them. So to now be at the opposite extreme of, you've gone power hungry, you just want this too much. It doesn't exactly track. That's less of an arc than it is like a giant rocket shuttle going somewhere thousands of miles away very quickly.
It's just weird that we've had all these different storylines jammed together, because we started back talking about the judge and warrants and Bobo's really creepy misogyny, and then we jumped midway through into star-crossed Old West gay cowboy lovers. And now there's some guy who can summon the voice of the dead and use this to torment Wynonna. And it feels like there's way too much happening and the pacing's weird. And it makes it hard to discuss and ultimately not engaging to watch.
Yeah. There's a reason on rewatch we gave up like 10 minutes in. We're like, that's enough.
I felt the same way because I knew that it wasn't going in a satisfactory direction until I didn't catch on the first time that Dolls had insulted the judge's bourbon. But that line really saved it for me, because I feel like, Kevin, you, as a resident whiskey and bourbon expert, would have some choice words.
Yes, I missed what bourbon the judge was actually drinking, though, so I can't really offer an opinion.
Nothing but wild turkey for him.
Oh, that's pretty bad, yeah. Sorry, Wild Turkey fans. It's just everything else is better.
Jim Beam, doing good.
You can do worse than Jim Beam for the price. I mean, the real bad one, of course, is a Fireball. Oof.
Oh, is that a bourbon?
Technically, it's a whiskey, but whiskeys and bourbons are very close together.
But why did they put the fucking disgusting cinnamon flavor in it?
That's what gives the ball its fire.
I can't drink that stuff anymore without automatically throwing up.
I can't drink it without automatically becoming vice president in a college sorority.
Okay. Oh yeah, so this is a college-themed episode. Had way too much Fireball in college because one friend of mine thought it was super cool and would just order us shots of it without asking.
Oof.
Wow.
Now, you use the word friend, but I feel like you have used the wrong term there.
I haven't talked to him in a while. Let's put it that way. It's been years.
I will say there was one part of this episode that I did actually really like, and Sarah, I know you liked it too.
What is it?
The steam room. Wynonna tries to flirt with the workers there.
Oh, yes, I loved this scene. Okay. So she's trying to get into... What was she trying to do?
I was not following it anymore.
So she's trying to get into a place for some reason. And so she walks up to these two people who are in work uniforms that are facing away from her, planning on showing them her rack. And it turns out they are both women. And she still tries it, but it doesn't work. And then
yes, they're both straight women. They're like, "What the fuck are you trying to do?"
Right. And then Doc Holliday comes back and tries it, and they're immediately like, "Okay."
Yeah, it was a good reversal of expectations, and like I said, it was nice to see the objectification going the other way.
Yep.
Yes, that was a good counterbalance. It's very convoluted and very poorly explained in the episode, but they're trying to get old pictures taken of the quote-unquote hunting party, the 7 who kill all the Earps, and those are in lockdown in the police building where Wynonna works. And they have a convoluted break-in plot.
Yes, because Wynonna can't just ask for the keys. She has to break into where she works, which it's worth pointing out she's actually very excited to do this. That's totally in Wynonna's character. Like, breaking into my office? Why, I probably should have done that already, actually.
But Dolls catches them stealing the photographs and lets them go after they've gone through several hoops for this. And I just think it would have been easier if she'd gone to Dolls and said, "Hey, in the basement of this building, there are some photographs that I believe are pictures of revenants we're hunting for. We should access those." And he probably would have said, "Oh, yes.
Sure.
Do that after lunch."
I'll go get them. Yeah.
So the whole break-in and stealing evidence that is literally in the police station where they work didn't seem...
Why wouldn't it just be somewhere else? Like, oh, it's in like the city court's office, or I don't know. Like it could have just been some other building.
So here's my defense for this questionable plot.
Okay, go on. I need this.
In defense of this idea, like, I think it is a cool idea to showcase that Wynonna's first instinct is always to not work with dolls and to like cause more trouble than it is to work with them. In not this plotline's defense, though, this is very clearly just meant to eat up like 7 or 8 minutes of screen time because they had a script that was too short and they just needed to pad it out.
Why couldn't they make it where the photos were in the judge's archives and he's known for hoarding all this stuff? Because at the end of the episode, we see that he has a framed photo of the hunting party in his office. So we know he's in league with them. If we got some hint that they were in his building and they had to sneak around and get past him or some other stuff and they started to slowly unravel the fact that he was super bad, that might have been better.
Definitely would have been better. I also think, I guess maybe they were trying to show us Wynonna always working against dolls, but I couldn't follow that plotline well enough for that to occur to me.
Yeah.
I
don't think it was done well. I think it's a cool idea in theory.
Yeah.
There's probably other ways to do that, which...
Definitely.
Because they just seemed to work against each other, but not really have any arguments, because again, Dolls is super non-emotive.
All his emoting goes into those rippling packs.
Hey, that furnace don't quit.
So let's get to the part of the episode I know we all want to talk about. The long-simmering romance is finally consummated, and Wynonna finally sleeps with Doc Holliday.
So exciting, I guess.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened.
What? It was stupid as all get out. What? So they're in the middle of the woods, not like a cute woods, but like musty leaf litter that's like all the leaves are black because they're wet and they're rotting. They've just killed 2 lovers, one of which his face was just like a weird melted flesh mask. And then their thing is, oh, we're gonna have a half-hearted argument for 30 seconds about moral concepts and then start making out.
That's how all my first dates go too.
I hate the trope of like arguing into kissing.
Yes,
I know it's a thing, but it's never been a thing in my life, and I don't understand.
Thank you. I've never had that happen to me.
The whole hate to love, I'm like, no, like I don't move from I despise you to I love you. That's not a thing that happens to me.
No.
Clearly, you two need to sign up for sexy arguing courses at your local community college, because I think that's where we really learn how to make this work.
If I'm arguing with someone, I'm mad at them. That's a very,
Yes.
very different emotion than I want to make passionate love to you.
Even makeup sex, I'm like, well, if enough time has passed, but I'm not going to go from like, okay, fine, I forgive you, I'm over it, to like, let's make love immediately. Like, no, give me a second.
Yeah, there has to be that time pass for them, like, oh,
Yes.
like my heart has opened and now I
Yes.
feel emotions other than blinding rage, where I just want to tell this person to go jump up their own ass and die. So, A, that whole trope doesn't make sense. B, this is bottom 3 executions of it. I can't think of any worse. I'm just assuming that somewhere in the world, in a student film perhaps, there have been 2 worse executions of argument to kissing.
I totally believe like Riverdale has done the same trope and somehow done it worse.
God damn it, Jughead, I'm so mad at you. Get over here, Archie. I know you want this. I haven't been working on that script at all. I haven't been sending a bunch of emails to Roberto Aguirre Sacasa. Quarantine's been long.
Dear Mr. Sakaza, here's why I think I should write for Riverdale. 1, clearly someone should be writing for the show because I know it's not you.
It's like improv by people who have never heard of improv and also have never been to an acting class.
Honestly, it kind of is like he reads every piece of fan mail and just takes every idea that he hears and just throws it in. Why not? What if Archie got eaten by a bear? All right, sure.
Yeah, why not? Why?
That was actually not what the original fanfic was proposing. I don't think Sakaza's hip on gay stuff.
Yeah,
a bear.
Definitely
Oh, but what's the deal with? Okay, Wynonna Earp. Are they just trying to do this thing where they set up a romance that no one is into just to build tension towards a romance that we're more into?
Yeah, I mean, you know that old thing like that every woman has experienced where like you just like really want to fuck your grandpa's friend. Finally, we're getting to see it on screen.
He says it multiple times. Oh, for the last 100+ years, I've been trapped at the bottom of a dusty well. Is that a turn on?
Definitely.
I really can't figure out like okay, so I get the actor is attractive looking.
I'll trap you in my well, dog.
well.
So I get the actor is attractive looking, but it's got to be a serious turnoff to any woman hearing like, when I used to hang out with your great grandpa. Like, I don't understand how Wynonna is that visually compelled by him that she can overlook, you sure are weird and creepy, and it's so weird. Like, I get, to an extent, the older man, younger woman trope in fiction. I get why it happens. Buffy did that too, but it's so weird to make it like specifically someone who's like a family friend it adds so many unintentional creepy undertones I don't know if they get.
Third thing, his mustache. All right. So there's mustaches that you trim above the lip and the ones that just grow over someone's top lip so you can't see the top lip. And all I could think while their kissing scene was going on was the top lip, all she's feeling is just the mustache hair. Which again, I don't think that's attractive. I don't think it was attractive back in the 1800s. I think there was just like 4 eligible dudes who didn't have tuberculosis or syphilis in the West, and the women just had to be like, gotta be with this guy who grew a fucking gross mustache.
Yeah, I mean, women back then did not feel that they had the social standing to complain about it, which they didn't, so they just had to deal with it. But I assume they didn't like making out with Brillo pads, because who would?
It doesn't seem desirable at all. So already, Wynonna, being a ball buster and being a strong female character, should be like, fucking shave that shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, a well-trimmed beard is completely fine, but, I mean, even stubble can be abrasive. Like,
I know, I need to shave. I just get lazy in quarantine.
Kevin's got a full Bryce Harper beard going on right now for fans of Major League Baseball. Kevin is frantically Googling Bryce Harper right now.
No idea who that is.
Yeah, I am lost.
I need friends who know sports. We've discussed before, I went through all of grad school trying to never talk about sports because I wanted to keep my friends.
And guess what? You failed. Goodbye.
See? This is what happens when I uncork that decanter. But so there's one other plot we have to follow, which I don't know if you guys remember. So Connie Clutie, super menacing, and Bobo Del Rey, also super menacing. Their thing is they're trying to bring back Connie's dead-ass sons who are just skeletons. And if Bobo accomplishes this feat, she will do some magic stuff to help the Revenants leave the Ghost River Triangle. All of this was very poorly explored. The crates that we talked about, Bobo's guys trucking to the trailer park before, never get resolved. It just seems like this was the plot, and they're trying to string it along, and they just added a bunch of other bullshit to this script.
Yeah. I bet they're not even going to draw out that judge thing. I bet like early next episode, they'll know that the judge is evil or whatever.
Yeah, next episode or the one after. I mean, that's what they did with Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
We just did not draw that out long.
That's what they've done with everyone so far.
Yeah.
They're just not good at drawing things out, except for the weird romance that they're drawing out way too long, and we need Nicole Hott to get with Waverly.
Where's Officer Hott been the last 2 episodes? I've seen hide nor hair of her.
And I'd like to see a lot more.
Ooh. Rack zoom.
Yes, they're going to redefine rack zoom. They've been doing a lot of weird Steadicam stuff. They need to go back to these. I just went a lot of zooming in and out. What was the other thing I really wanted to cover? Okay,
I mean, really want's a strong word. I don't have many strong feelings about this episode.
I guess we know within the first 10 minutes of the episode that the judge who gave them the warrant to go into the trailer park tipped off Bobo so that he hid all illegal, occult, or other creepy things. So then for the next 30 minutes, we just dance around that topic, except for the one inexplicable line where Dolls accuses the judge of being a child abuser, which is never resolved or explored and still baffles me.
Yeah, that was really strange. I was wondering if it was some kind of oblique reference to Willa, but I have no idea.
There's just some scene towards the end of that Dolls and the judge in the judge's office, and Dolls is like, we need less child abusers behind the judge's bench. And, I mean, that's a true statement, but it seems accusatory, and we've never covered anything that links this particular judge to child abuse.
Yeah, it's like him saying offhandedly at the end of, like, wish you didn't have that child pornography ring too. Like, wait, what? Like, I need more information about this.
He might as well just walked up and been like, anti-Semitism is bad, and a lot of Gentiles are culpable of it. I don't know where the hell that's going. I guess the judge is a revenant because he has pictures of dead Earps and hunting parties in his taxidermy office. But I don't know. There was like 4 different plots going on in this episode.
Yeah. It was definitely the weakest episode so far. There were very few elements that showed any of the same spark we liked in the previous episodes.
Agreed.
And I hope this is just like an off episode for them, because I do think there are a lot of good things happening in this show generally.
Yeah, I'm hoping it finds its footing. I mean, we're still in the first 5 episodes of a show, you know? So I'm hoping it picks up.
Yeah.
Well, there's enough raw material here that I feel like they can put it together.
I wanted your predictions on Will she return in season 1 within the next few episodes, and how are they going to handle that? And you can't just say poorly.
I want to believe it'll be like an episode, like a season-ending cliffhanger.
Yeah, that sounds. If they understand pacing, which at this point is an open question, that's the best time to do it.
So they really fucked me, because this whole time I was sitting on this prediction of Willa's the Stone Witch or something like that, or is in league with her, and Willa was going to be either turned supernaturally, kind of like Doc Holliday, and I thought she was going to be like, Wynonna, you abandoned me, and now I'm an undead freak, and I kind of hate you, and it was going to be this slow thing where she comes around to being a good character, and that it would be much more powerful and compelling than Doc Holliday. Some of that's still possible.
Yeah. I think the mom might also come back into play.
Oh, yeah, because isn't she just skedaddled, like she just left the dad.
As far as we know, we haven't heard word that she's dead.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting.
I mean, next episode, my most fervent hope is that Officer Hot and Waverly finally get together.
It needs to happen. You guys want to do ratings and cringe lines?
Oh, yes. What would you rate this, Kevin?
Pretty low. Let's give it 1.5 stiletto lickings.
Oh, God. I was going to give it a 2 daguerreotypes out of 5.
Oh, man. I can't even remember enough about this episode to, like, come up with something amusing. That's how good it is.
That kind of speaks for itself. That was
give it like a shirtless jump ropes.
There we go. 2 out of 5 shirtless jump ropes.
Yeah. It's just, I don't think it's, how to phrase this. It's less that it's like an actively bad episode, more than just like a really dull episode.
It's dull because, yeah, they just cut it together really poorly. Like, I guess it felt more Riverdale-esque, where it was like, there's too many pieces and you're not giving enough time to any one of them.
And they don't fit together.
And they don't fit together at all.
Yes. One of my cringe lines is, one piece at a time, that's how people slip away. Which is what Wynonna says after she awakes in a very normal, completely human dialogue. Oh.
Mine was, or should I call you Ms. Stone by Bobo, just because the way he says it is like, I don't know.
It's supposed to be a big reveal, but it was really dumb.
It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My cringe line was already, I shared with you Waverly doing her MST3K riffs.
I had some other ones. There was another thing. So this is about 4 seconds before the previous line about people slipping away one piece at a time. Wynonna wakes up and says, "Is it beer o'clock?" Which I just thought, if this was a male character and they said that, it would be way less charming. And it's also a really large sign that she has a problem with alcohol abuse. If that's her first words.
Vera Clock is also so much more cliche and less interesting than she's usually like. I mean, Vera Clock is like the married dad equivalent of having a crocheted little pillow that says like "Live, Laugh, Love."
Yeah. It's pretty much it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
Which I only say when it's 5 o'clock in the place where I'm at.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, but God, where? Oh, here, my phone confirmed.
Yes, and there was a Sharknado reference. I don't remember the line exactly, but the fact that Wynonna referenced Sharknado, they're going Riverdale-ish. They're getting cultural references in here.
Yeah, it's still pretty restrained, though.
Oh, the other one was something about getting the taste of, and I mentioned this before, judge anus out of your mouth. They let the interns take the helm on this script.
I guess. So that's it for Season 1, Episode 5, Wynonna Earp. That was Digging Up Bones. Next week, we're going to discuss Season 1, Episode 6, Constant Cravings. Which,
I assume is about pregnant revenants.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be about her and Doc Holliday's smoldering romance.
The tagline says Agent Dull struggles with withdrawal. So, withdrawal from what, I don't know. He's given zero indication he's on anything.
This is... You know what? I'll reserve judgment until I've seen this, but I just want the lesbian couple to happen and be adorable.
That's the thing I'm constantly craving.
Jesus. Alright, you know what? That's where we're leaving it. That's the perfect place to end this.
Thank you for listening to Gritty Reboot. Please find us wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review if you can, because it helps us grow and reach a wider audience.
You can find us on Twitter at GrittyRebootPod or by email at grittyrebootpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.